Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Amoy and welcome back to my channel. And today I've got a lovely video on best books for getting out of a reading slump. These are books I've found personally helped me get back into reading, and I thoroughly enjoyed them all and I hope you will too. Quickly before I get started, I do have a playlist on my channel called All Things Books, which is where I post all of my book videos. So if that's what you're looking for, check out that playlist. There's loads in there. Anyways, let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first book I would recommend for getting back into reading is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I read it last August after I watched the TV adaptation, and I really enjoyed it. It was there's nothing super intense about it. The story basically follows these two people, Conan and Marianne, and it's the kind of want to be together but never actually end up being together kind of trope. So if that's what you're into, then this book has definitely got you sorted. One thing about this book is that there's no speech marks or anything in it, and at first it can be a bit difficult to read, but you pretty much get the hang of it quite soon. You'll also see I have another one of Sally Rooney's books back there, which I read last week and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, she's got such a lovely style of writing where the plot builds up and the storyline intenses, but it's not too much to read, and it happens quite fluently, and that's what I thoroughly enjoyed about it. So I do recommend this one. So the second book I would recommend if you're looking to get back into reading is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and the title, pretty much tells you what happens at the end, and it sounds a bit morbid, but the book is actually really good. It's the first book I read this year and I really enjoyed it. It follows these two characters, Rufus and Mateo, on their last day on Earth. So basically in this kind of universe there's this kind of service called the death cast, and they call you on the day that you're going to die. They don't tell you when or where it's going to happen, they just say by the end of today you'll be gone basically. But this book was really good. It was really quite emotional. This is definitely the most soul-crushing ending I've ever read. Even though you know what's going to happen at the end, you're still never actually prepared for it. And obviously it's a fiction book, and fiction is always really good for getting back into reading because it's nothing that really relates to the actual world, which is quite nice to read sometimes, especially in this current climate. But yeah, Adam Silvera also has loads of other books. I read one of his other ones called History Is All You Left Me, and I really enjoyed that as well. Again, he's got a really lovely style of writing where the plot builds up, but it's not really boring and then all of a sudden plot twist. It's very consistent all the way throughout, which is really nice if you're looking to get back into reading because you want something that's going to keep your attention, and this book definitely does. You're pretty much on edge for the whole book, so I do recommend this one. The third book I would recommend is Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. I also read this book this year and I was just so hooked on it from the very beginning. And even though I wasn't in a reading slump when I read this book, as I was reading it I was wow, this story's really gripping. So basically each chapter follows a different woman or person and kind of tells the story of their life, but also all of these people have kind of come across each other in some way. In some ways they're very significant and very obvious, and in other ways it's a bit more subtle. So it's also kind of telling the story of how each of our lives are really important. Everyone has their own stories, and you may only just come across some of these people, but to you they may be insignificant, but for them they've got their own kind of connection and their own kind of world and their own life. And there's the first character it starts off with is kind of the one that kind of brings all of these different people together, and it kind of branches off. But yeah, each chapter is just, it's so immersive, and none of the characters are the same. Even the people in the books who are related, so one might be the mother and another might be the daughter, they all still have such interesting lives and very individual lives as well, which I think is what the author was trying to get at with this book. And it's about 400 pages, but honestly I read it in about 2 days because I was I just want to read more of this book. I want to find out what happens. I want to know who else will be introduced to in this book. So I think it would be really good if you're trying to get back into reading, because I would definitely say this book has the most like fluent storyline ever. It was definitely very carefully planned. There are a lot of intricate details, and yeah, I just really recommend this if you're looking to get back into reading. Finally, the last book I'm going to recommend to you today for getting back into reading is The Shagged, Married, Annoyed book by Chris and Rosie Ramsey. The main reason why I think this book would be good for getting back into reading is because, well, it's really funny, it's really light-hearted and not super serious, even though it is a non-fiction book, and the other books I recommended today were fiction. But this one, like, I read this one literally in like a day, and I also did film a review of it, so like check that out if that's something you're into. But yeah, it's like the style of the book I thought was really interesting as well, because it's not like one person wrote one chapter and another person wrote the other chapter. Within the chapters, they're kind of writing and responding to what the other is saying, and it's so hilarious. I found out about this book because they have a podcast I also listen to. So when they said they were coming out with a book, I was like, I have to read it, and I did read it. I even got a signed copy, and I haven't taken the sticker off the front that says signed copy, because I just feel like people need to know it's a signed copy. But yeah, I do really recommend this book if you're looking for something that's non-fiction, but you don't want something really intense or like really fixated on what's happening in our reality. So I think like quite a comical and light-hearted book is a good way to do that. Thank you so much for watching. Those are all the books I have to recommend to you today. If you're looking to get back into reading, I really do highly recommend these books. I've read them all, I love them, I'm probably going to reread them. And getting back into reading can be really difficult, but I think once you find a good book to actually propel you into it, it then becomes like a lot easier. And yeah, as I said earlier, I do have a book playlist on my channel, so I will be making a lot of book content because I've been doing a lot of reading and a lot of book buying, so you can expect that from me. But yeah, feel free to comment below what books do you particularly enjoy, or what books got you back into reading, or what books you would like to read. I love seeing it all. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.